Apologies from John Anderson, Stirling McGee, Neil Thompson, Councillor Hood, Councillor Gillian Graham and Mark Arthur.
Okay. Do we have any declarations of interest? Don't see any. Okay, so I'll move on. Okay, item 1, minutes of the meeting of the local partnership held on the 25th of May. Yeah, I've got a comment there. Councillor McMillan.
Aye, sorry, it's the previous item. Alison and Dowling put in her apologies as well.
Noted. Okay, yep. Fiona.
Hi. No, I was just going to say, having been at the last meeting and having watched the webinar again just before this meeting, I do feel that the actual meeting discussion and then what was minuted were a tad misleading, because at the meeting, you know, it was clearly suggested at the beginning of it that some applications, and one of them was ours, be, you know, deferred to it was Village Improvement Fund, absolutely fine. And, you know, you made the recommendation that the full amount, you know, be allocated. And that was later confirmed by Annabelle Armstrong-Walter, that, you know, certain groups, and we were one of them, were awarded the full amount. And I know at the end of it, it was said that it was suggested that, you know, it'd be better to have the money ring-fenced rather than just allocated. It was a tad misleading because we actually thought we had that money. And then I see in the minutes that somewhere, you know, obviously behind closed doors, which I fully accept, it was decided that we would just get 1,000 from the Village Investment Fund. I just feel that it wasn't clear at the meeting that there would be further discussion, and we had not actually been allocated the full amount.
Okay. So is this the Kilbarchan Community Council?
It is, and the reason I'm bringing it up here is just because I don't think that the webinar tallies with what the minutes say. That's all. Just perhaps be a bit clearer.
No, that's fair enough, and we've got that obviously on the agenda tonight. I'll maybe touch on that when we move on.
That's absolutely fine, but I just wanted that. It wasn't clear to us. That's all.
No, that's fine. It's noted. Thanks, Fiona. Right. So, are we okay with the minutes? Yeah. Great. Okay. So where am I? Sorry, I'm at item 3. No, I'm not. I'm at item 2. The village's local partnership budget monitoring report. We're ending on that. Can we agree the minutes? Sorry, can we agree the report?
Agree.
Okay, and then we'll move on then. So item 3, application at the village's local partnership, Kilbarchan Community Council. So as Fiona was saying there, obviously we agreed a number of applications to go to that fund, and it turns out that this one application, those that distribute the village investment fund felt that they couldn't allocate the entirety of the fund, so that £1,000 of that wasn't allocated, and it's come back to us tonight, and I'm of the mind to agree that £1,000. If anybody has any objections to that. No. Okay, so agreed. Yeah.
Agreed. Okay, that's definitely agreed.
Agreed.
Minute that.
Sorted. Right.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you, because we do appreciate the money. It's very helpful.
Okay, item 4, villages local partnership deferred applications. We get any comments on that? Okay, right. Well, from what I can read, the second application, sorry, the Renfrewshire Access Panel, they're from what I can see, the evidence is that they did run by what we're trying to achieve here as a partnership. So I would be minded to award them the £2,561.61.
Agreed.
Agreed. Sorted. Right, moving on then. So item 5, applications for local partnership funding to the villages. Okay. So this is an application from Kilbarchan Smile, I understand. I don't know if anybody wants to talk to that, any of the officers here.
I can take that one,
Yep.
Councillor Innes. So this was an application from Kilbarchan Smile to the local partnership. And essentially what they're looking to do is create a heritage garden on a piece of underused ground, which is just off an area in Kilbarchan. It's just off Ewing Street, yep, Ewing Street and Well Road there. We've had a look at who actually owns the land, so it is in council ownership. And the application there was, so the intention is to create a heritage garden. So it would be sort of tidying up the area, having some benches, some pathways. There would be further phases to it, and planting what they call heritage plants. So it would be plants that were formerly used in the dyeing industry in the local area, in the local weaving industry. So the application there is for just over £7,000, £7,275. But just to note that the local partnership had previously agreed that the maximum award would be £5,000. So that's the application that you have there.
Thanks for that, Stuart. What I would say is that I would propose that we go ahead with £5,000, unless anybody has anything else. No, are we agreed on that?
Agreed.
Smashing. Okay, so that takes us to item 6.
Sorry, Councillor Innes, sorry to interrupt. I had my wee hand up just a wee bit late
Yeah,
there.
sorry.
It was just to highlight the issue around one of the things that the officers had mentioned when we were linking about that open space was just about what this particular group's plans were for the maintenance of the garden, because obviously that's quite critical and it perhaps wasn't fully detailed in their application. So it was just to highlight that wee point around that. It's maybe something we want to follow up a wee bit of information just on that.
Yeah, that's noted, Pauline. Thank you. Okay, so sorry, item 6, Lochwinnoch Community Development Trust request to amend the use of their previous award. Is somebody talking to that?
Yep, sure. I don't know if you wanted to come in on that one, although I can do if that.
No, on you go, Pauline. That's fine.
Is that okay? So the Lochwinnoch Community Development Trust, as you know, were awarded money through the Celebrating Renfrewshire, and it was to look at kind of gym equipment for their teenagers, and they were working with the young people there. They approached Stuart's team to say that the young people that we were working with had asked if they could actually allocate this towards a teen shelter. They sent through some information about what that would look like. They've been working closely with our colleagues in Environment, Housing and Infrastructure about the suitability of the equipment, about potential siting for that as well. And we linked with the ward members as well on this one, just so that they were well cited on what the proposals were. Now, just to highlight that the teen shelter is more money than was allocated, so they have a range of fundraising that they're keen to do. And normally in these circumstances, I understand, Stuart can keep me right, is that if it's broadly in line with what was previously approved, then we can reallocate it. So it's really just to provide an update to the local partnership on that one as well. So happy to take any questions about their plans, or we can get a bit more info if that's helpful.
Yeah. Sorry, Councillor Doig. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just, Convener, thank you. It was just that Pauline's already made the point. Convener, I'm simply going to add that, make the point that all the local ward members had asked us for further information, and all of the 4 of us consulted, and all of us felt the changes were fair and valid. None of us had an issue with the change. We felt it was within the spirit of the original application. Thanks.
Smashing. Okay, so can we agree on that then?
Agreed.
Yeah. Okay. So we move on to Celebrating Renfrewshire results.
Yes, Chair, I could come in on that because Kelly's unable to come tonight, so she's asked me to do the presentation for her. So I'll just call it up just now and share it if that's okay. Still loading. I think hopefully you can see it's moving.
That's us, Isabel. It's come through now.
All right, okay. I'm not seeing it at all. That's all right. Okay, I can see it now. Right, so Celebrating Renfrewshire is an award for young people, and it's voted for by the young people themselves. And just to sort of explain the process a wee bit to you, the young people came up with these priorities themselves that they felt were important, and it was cost of living, mental and physical well-being, employability and life skills, climate change, violence and diversionary projects for young people, and drug and alcohol prevention. The village's local partnership received 18 eligible applications, and the total amount was £23,907. They had 158 voters casting 474 votes because everyone's allowed 3 votes. 12 organisations were given the full amount and 1 got a partial award. And you should be able to see them here. That's a list of all the organisations. If everybody can read, can everyone read that okay, rather than me going through it all? The only one that didn't get the full amount was the Rainbow Turtle, and I think that was just that they came in later or something like that, and that's why they didn't get the full amount. There wasn't enough left, I think, was the reason behind that. Does everyone want to have a look at that for a minute longer, or are you happy with that slide? Okay, I'll move on now. So there actually is a short film here showing the event, which was held in the UWS building in June when the awards were given out. And it's quite good to see. So I'm hoping that the link works okay to the film, because it really is good to see the young people themselves and them saying what the award means to them. So I shall attempt to play it.
Is this working for anyone, or is it just me?
No, it's not working at my
Is it not
end.
working?
No,
it's frozen.
Not working.
Okay.
it's frozen.
Sorry about that. It was working for me there, so sorry. I thought everyone could see it. It's certainly send it to everybody, so you should be able to see it and when it's sent along to you. But it's really quite good to young people are interviewed and what they think of the award and what it means to them. So I'll certainly send that as an attachment to everyone, and hopefully you'll be able to see it that way. And that's really all about Celebrating Renfrewshire. If anybody's got any questions.
Thank you, Isabel. I see we've got Anne-Marie. Anne-Marie's
Yeah.
hand up in that.
A couple of things there. Can you list what LAP that it was attached to, or what village it was attached to on the list of the ones that won? And I don't know about anybody else. I just pressed play on the thing and it played for me. So maybe you just press play on your own screen.
Oh, right. Okay. So I don't know. Do you want me to try that again, or do you just want to do it at your own leisure? It's probably better.
Okay.
It was quite good, to be fair.
That's fair. I think if you can send a link round to everybody, that'd be smashing,
Okay.
Isabel.
So all the ones there were for the villages, but you want to know which specific village they were for? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I'd find that quite interesting if that's possible,
Right.
as well.
Okay, I shall look into that for you.
Thank you.
Smashing. Okay, then moving on. Castle Semple Muirshiel Strategic Tourism Infrastructure Development presentation.
Thanks all. That'll be me. I've got a wee presentation, so I'm just gonna share it. Give me 2 seconds. If you just let me know when you can all see it. Someone?
Yep, can see it.
Oh, that's good. Okay. So just a quick overview. Oh, sorry. Just gonna. So I'm going to talk about it's quite a mouthful, the Strategic Tourism Infrastructure Development Plan. We've been calling it the STID to avoid having to say that every time. And I'm going to go through what that plan is, the consultation and the research that went behind it, the priority projects that were identified through the plan, and then kind of what we're working on the next steps as we go forward. And then this is very early stage mind, but to talk a little bit further about a bit of a longer term vision for Castle Semple and the kind of work that we're doing with the consultant currently. So what is the STID? We secured funding back in 2022, which was approximately £35,000 from Visit Scotland to develop this STID via a grant that they offer to local authorities to deliver one of these plans. The advantage of the plan really is it allows the consultant to have a look and to do a desktop approach of the whole area, but it gives a lot of weight to future ARTIF applications to Visit Scotland once you have it adopted. We completed it in August and it went to board for information and has been published via that board. So it sets out recommendations to enhance infrastructure and relieve visitor pressure points in and around Castle Semple. It has a short to medium term focus, but it also, we managed to tag on a little bit to this report about long term recommendations, even though they weren't strictly eligible for Visit Scotland funding. And then the plan output is a programme of phased investment over the next 5 years with identified priority projects, which many of which are eligible for ARTIF funding. Moving on, consultation and research behind this. So the consultants did a range of desk-based stuff via GIS, internal colleagues, data, etc. Went and did site visits, photographed the site, asked questions, liaised with park staff, rangers, key local stakeholders, including the RSPB, the water sports clubs, people on site. We held a liaison group workshop with key stakeholders and councillors at the end of 2022 that gave a little bit of a nod to this. And then we did a public stakeholder event in person and online back in February with an online thing that ran for 6 weeks. One slight error, sort of failing really, you probably saw today that actually the consultation, we released the results of that, which informed the STID. So we sent that out and round in terms of that report. To kind of hold the hands up a little bit that it was quite late in getting the report back from the consultant, and then through a few other things we didn't actually kind of send it out, but that's hopefully now with everybody in terms of the results from that. And then what that ultimately did, it allowed the consultant to identify the issues around visitor pressure points and then put that into the report. I'll cut straight to the chase in terms of the priority projects. Here's the list, and it's 8 projects there, and I won't go into too much detail at this stage because I'm aware the football's on later and so on. But the plan further prioritises these projects as well, but this is over the course of the 5 years and sets at a very high level the delivery and the importance of this, and adds weight, as I mentioned, for ARTIF funding. So you can see the column there that says ARTIF, and that's around the range that we would hope to apply for Visit Scotland, along with Renfrewshire Council potential money, and then any other external funds that might be relevant to essentially put in those applications for the different projects. So the first one we're working on is a toilet and bike hub. Toilet's condemned, not fit for purpose down there. We've recommended basically full demolition of that block that's attached to the side, with a full replacement toilet facility and bike workshop / storage / operation at the front, which is still to be defined through consultation. We've appointed a architect from a brief in order to deliver that up to REBA stage 4, and we're looking to submit the application for funding in January. So that's the first project, probably funding wise talking £275,000 there or thereabouts for that project, but that will include a lot of landscaping in and around the edges of the site, So i.e. you see where the barriers are there, stuff, for example, there's opportunities to remove those, put in things such as raised beds and planting and so on. So we're working on that one at the moment. The next one, and this is why I was on at Castle Semple all day today, we're going to be working in quite close collaboration with Sustrans on this. See the bike part that comes here, and this entrance to the site, for anyone that's visited, I'm sure you all have, it's quite a danger point with cars coming around the corner sharply and from the other side. Poor signage, lack of road markings, causes confusion for both pedestrians and cyclists at this point. So the proposition with Sustrans is to move the bike path that comes, and hopefully you can see my cursor. Robert, Councillor Innes, you're on my screen. Can you give me a thumbs up? Can you see my cursor? You can. Okay. So where the bike path comes in here, it would wrap itself around and then bring the entrance of the bike path further over towards this site. So it essentially allows further space at this point in order to slow the traffic and create less confusion. And Sustrans were really keen on it, and they're going to be looking at doing essentially the design, and we'll work in collaboration in terms of applying for the funding almost jointly with Sustrans, because obviously they're responsible for the national cycle route, but accompanying that with much better signage and then traffic calming measures from our roads team kind of over this side. So that's another one that we're working on. This train station, so I've got in touch with Network Rail and ScotRail in order to try and basically advocate for better disabled access, because currently you come into Lochwinnoch station and you have to walk up steps. There's no lift access, and considering the importance of the strategic tourism asset, the fact that there aren't opportunities for somebody to arrive by train in today's world, it needs fixing. We were looking at this and putting potentially a pedestrian crossing at this point, but there's one further down, and the constraint to put in a pedestrian crossing there and the expense, having scoped it out with our roads team, would be too far, I think, for the scale of funding. However, again, working with Network Rail and ScotRail, what we hope to do is to prevent people or discourage people from entering the station and exiting and crossing over this particularly dangerous road here, and have better signage to direct out the other way, etc., and improve the accessibility. But we need to scope and prepare a brief for that one. These we haven't prepared briefs for yet, but another project is better way marking and signage and so on. And I think we're looking at kind of the other projects before we do that one, so that it's more cohesive across the site, and hopefully we might have a master plan in place which would aid that, both at Castle Semple, but way marking and signage can connect to RSPB and other assets in and around. And then trails and boardwalks. So we applied for RTIF funding in collaboration with RSPB, and I don't know if everybody's gone and visited the new boardwalk, which I think is tremendous, but they're looking at putting in another application, essentially, or via us, for a circular. We are unsure at this point as to whether there's enough Visit Scotland funding for next year to put this application in, and we're taking a stiff from Visit Scotland, because obviously our priority is this, and then kind of maybe the other projects before this one, and then other trails as well we're looking at. So yeah, next steps is just to continue from my remit is to try and get those projects delivered from that plan, and that's what I'll be working on. The next stage of the thing, so just to bear in mind, this is incredibly early, but we'd commissioned Ironside for us to start looking at a very early level vision for longer term aspirations in and around the site, because the visitor centre itself, quite dilapidated building now, probably reaching the end of its shelf life, but this is more the sort of 10-year plan type thing, and starting to get early conversation going prior to any master plan. But new visitor centre, that's where the new toilets and so on would go, with potential, higher a large boat shed and so on, and then a coordination of water sports activities as we'd gone in for previously with RCGF, along with the other water sports clubs. But it's at very early stages and obviously nothing defined. But already some initial ideas really coming out of a two-tier concept of a visitor centre that straddles the cycle route and goes over above levels and creates more floor space, etc., for activities, which is on a constrained site. So yeah, I'll leave it there, and we'll field any questions and unshare so that I can see everybody. I was going, Councillor Gilmore.
Yeah, hello, thanks, Ed. A great pitch. I've got probably two questions and one suggestion, which I know will be out the ballpark money-wise. The first one is by the railway bridge, where you're going to reroute the cycle path. The corner there continually floods.
Yeah.
On that corner, so there's got to be something done to manage that flooding issue at that corner. That's you got a bucket of rain falls and that stops you.
Yeah.
And on the railway station, for the disabled access, I really do hope you manage to get funding for that, because I know that most of the local councils going back probably 20 years have been chasing, and a lot of the local community have been chasing the disabled access for that. Be great. Maybe one other suggestion, if you know, the railways were feeling flush, was maybe to put a walkway under the road, you know, and it's a very, very expensive item, but it will negate completely crossings, etc. You could go under the road and hook onto the cycle path, and that would be ideal for disabled folk getting out, because as you probably know yourself, the car park at the railway station again floods if you get more than about a bucket full of rain dropping. So that's me. I'm looking forward to it. It's quite exciting.
No, thanks, Councillor. All really good suggestions. In relation to the flooding, that was certainly flagged today, because you could visibly see surface water building up at that location, and certainly something that Sustrans had mentioned, but thought there was a feasible solution around that, even with the option that they presented. Certainly in terms of the railway bridge, I mean, we haven't been able to get in touch currently with Network Rail and ScotRail, and I am starting to, you know, it was only a week and a half ago or so that I sent emails to the appropriate people, and I've then chased that, and then I'm gonna, if I haven't heard anything by next week, then I'll be flagging in more senior people and so on, because it is notoriously can be difficult to get ScotRail in a room, but we will certainly flag those particular issues and look for solutions on their land around that danger point there. Okay. Councillor Doyle.
Thank you very much.
Yep. Thanks, Eddie. I think it's an excellent report. I think in terms of, I completely support the particular points made by Councillor Gilmore about flooding, because the Lochwinnoch Road corner, it just floods constantly and continuously. So that's something we need to address. Flooding up at the station as well. I think I'd make a particular plea for a crossing up at the railway station that you mentioned, because in fact there's 2 points I'd make about that. This was a decision, I think, made by the full council around about 5 years ago, that where funding allowed, we would pursue that. And it's actually been, if you look at it up there, Eddie, you'll see that as you leave the station bridge, there is actually the curb has been lowered at a particular point, which implies to me that there's certainly at some point been in principle a decision to put a crossing there. That would also, I think, radically improve speeding in the A760, because drivers would have that first crossing, then the second crossing further down near the RSPB. So in fact, a crossing there, I think, would really improve road safety at that point. So I'll contact you directly about that particular point. In general, I think it's important to note for the councillors who aren't on the Economy and Regeneration Board that the RSPB Castle Semple and Clyde Muirshiel together as an entity attract more than 500,000 visitors a year. So in anybody's term, this is a major Scottish attraction, so it deserves and needs all the investment we can give it. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor. Councillor Stewart.
No, not one of the councillors.
Oh, sorry. My bad.
I had a small point up. This all sounds excellent, and I know the area very, very well. And I'll just ask that when you're doing the raised beds, you know, outside of where the toilet block is at the moment, that you only use native planting for habitat connectivity.
Certainly, that's a really good suggestion. In terms of the landscaping and flower arrangements or anything like that, just to make very clear that as part of the essentially the feasibility and the design that of the commission of the architect that we have, includes a design team which has a landscape designer specifically as part of it, which is I can tell you it's LUC. So at the point that everyone's signed off and are happy with kind of the way that the building looks and stuff in and around, LUC would then be brought in for the exterior part of the design, which obviously would be and not only that, in terms of sustainability, to make the application more appealing to Visit Scotland and those type of things in terms of native native plants and materials and so on are very, very important as part of that. So yeah, I can reassure you that we will certainly think and consider that.
I just recommend that you actually give them that brief. Native plants only.
Aye, I've certainly noted that, and I will mention it when we meet with them. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Eddie. Thank you for that. I think that was very informative. Thank you, everybody, for your contributions. Okay, I'm going to move on now. Item 9, Community Mental Health and Wellbeing Fund.
That's myself, Chair. I have a presentation to share as well, so I'll just try and bring that up. And it does also have a video in it. So yes, I think if you click on it, it should play, but just let me know if that doesn't happen. Everyone see that okay? Okay. Yes, thanks for having me along. My name is Alice McBride. I am Community and Partnerships Manager at Engage, and I look after the Community Mental Health and Wellbeing Fund. I think I came along to the last round, or possibly the one before that, just with an update of year 2. So I'll just give a brief update on that, and then also talk about year 3, which is just about to launch. So year 2, which is this current year, it's still ongoing. The activity we funded will actually be ongoing until the end of the year, although of course some projects might have finished up already. We're just currently collecting interim reports, which, as I said, some projects might have finished already, but that's just when we had it in our timescales. So I can give a better update at the next round if you'd like to have me along. But anecdotally, it's been very well received. I've been out to visit a few funded projects. The full list of funded projects is on our website if anyone would like to have a look, from both years, in fact. But yes, I've been out to visit projects and obviously I've been keeping in touch with them as the year has gone on. And yes, it's been very well received, both in terms of the fund itself going to organisations and then obviously people benefiting from the work. The third year, although it was announced back in April by Scottish Government, is only just now opening, and part of that is because they were actually realigning it from COVID recovery money into the actual main mental health strategy of Scottish Government. So it's fantastic that they have recognised the impact and now wanting to build it into their main strategy. But yes, so the fund will open on the 29th of September. So that's just a week on Friday. And then we'll be open for 2 months, during which time any interested third sector organisations can contact us at Engage and either talk to myself as fund officer or to my colleague Jane Hamilton, who's organisation development officer, or funding and organisation development officer. If they've got any questions about whether an idea would fit into their criteria, what they would need to do as organisations, or any questions at all, really, they can let us know. The panel, it's a cross-sector panel. They'll meet at the beginning of next year, and then all funds will be distributed by March, and it will fund activity running through till January the following year. There's just a short line there about applications of under 2,000. This fund is quite not totally unique, but it does have the opportunity to fund unconstituted groups, which I know is not often the case, but we do have a cap on how much they can request, and that's £2,000. So the reason that they may find out earlier is because realistically we'll have to work with them a little bit more, just make sure that they have measures in place that we're comfortable with, because obviously they might be receiving funding for the first time, they might not know the processes, so we'll let them know earlier, and then we'll work with them a little bit more. I said that it has moved from COVID recovery into the main mental health strategy, but realistically it is largely the same fund. Just as a reminder, the fund is for community-based interventions and it's early intervention and preventionist approaches. So we're really trying to support the wider community before they reach a point of crisis with mental health. So a lot of the things that we have funded have been very much kind of peer-led, community-based, and by that I mean all around and in different community spaces. And it's for the adult population. That being said, we have funded things before where things for new parents, for example. So, and one of the groups that can apply are parent councils within schools. So we do recognise kind of whole the family well-being, but the direct and the reason that this is 16 plus is because there is children's mental health funding that is separate. I said before about the cap for 2000 for unconstituted groups, sorry. And then there's a suggested request there of 10,000 for constituted groups. We have just over 500,000 to distribute across Renfrewshire, and in the last 2 years we have been severely oversubscribed by well over 1 million each year. So in a bid to try and get a good spread across Renfrewshire, across different priority groups, we are suggesting a request of 10,000. That's not to say that if somebody puts in a really incredible application that is 12 or 15, we wouldn't consider it, but we just want to try and manage expectation, I suppose. The hard line upper request is 50,000, but in the last 2 years we've not given anywhere near that. So yeah, that's why we're paying that in. And then the only other cap to consider would be that we can support capital costs, but only up to £5,000. So that's the update on the fund. I also just wanted to mention the Renfrewshire Wellbeing Network, which is some work that myself and colleagues at Health and Social Care have been undertaking just this year. There is a short video here, which I'm going to try and play. And if it doesn't play on your side, maybe I press the button, I think. But let me know if this one plays. Yeah, so that was just a little bit about the network. It was a bit pixelated on my side. I'm not sure if that was the case for other people, but we'll I'm sure it will be sent round to you all anyway. But yeah, it was a great event back in June. Feels like quite a while ago. It was a beautiful sunny day and we had a walk around Paisley Abbey, which probably wouldn't want to do today. But it was a great event, and our as I said in the video, if you want to keep up with any of the work, then we have our monthly newsletter. The link here, you can just sign up directly to receive it. About 160 people receive it at the moment, and as the video suggested, it's very much cross-sector. So that's groups that have received funding, public sector colleagues, and some private sector as well who are interested in the work, though of course they aren't entitled to funding. Our next event is on the 5th of October. That's coming up. It's out in Renfrew Town Hall, and it's a bit of a celebration, but there will also be the main network events. So the main network event is from 2 o'clock if anybody would like to come along, but then we have this celebration where all the groups will also be there, and that's from 3:30 until 6:30. We are showcasing some of the work in a brilliant photo exhibition, which we've commissioned Open Eye, who are actually based out in Lochwinnoch. We've commissioned Becky to capture 6 of the activities from across Renfrewshire and across the network. Here's just a little taster of one of the images, and we've got lots more to show. You're very, very welcome. I believe Stuart Graham's already sent round an invitation, but if anyone would like to come along to that, you can contact myself, or there is also an Eventbrite link, which I can put in the chat box just now. But yes, you'd be very welcome. It is a little bit of a celebration, but there will obviously be an opportunity to showcase as much as we can, just so that people know what's happening. And that's me. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Alice. Thanks. That was I know you guys are doing brilliant work. That was excellent. Cheers. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to move on. Item 10, Community Learning and Development Team.
Yes, that's myself again, Chair.
Again, Isabel. Okay.
I've not got a video this time, so hopefully it should go without a hitch. I'll just. Can everyone see that okay?
Yep.
Okay, it's really just to give you an update on what we're doing in CLD at the moment, because we've had a lot going on over the summer. To let you know about the summer camps, which we ran with Street Stuff, the outcomes of some surveys that we've put out, the forthcoming HMI Inspectors Progress Visit, an Adult Learners Award, Youth Voice Programme, and the Community Capacity Update. The summer camps, they ran in 6 communities over 5 weeks, 2 sessions a week, and they ran right over Renfrewshire. You can see all the areas there. There was a lot going on for the children, activities, mainly sports and games, but also arts and crafts. We also had some external agencies coming in to do samba drumming, clay, mask making, and screen printing, and that was funding from Future Paisley that provided that. There was about 70 to 100 children in each camp, so it was very busy, as you can imagine, and we did have positive feedback from parents and children due to some surveys that we sent out afterwards. The Youth Services Department, they had a survey which they went out to the young people throughout Renfrewshire. They had 374 responses, and they also did some roadshows and so on, going out into the areas and talking to the young people in person. So the young people's concerns, similar to the things that they identified in the Celebrating Renfrewshire, really is mental health and well-being, bullying, being safe. So that's their real concerns at the moment. So the youth team are looking at all the survey analytics, and they are deciding on a programme which will incorporate these things which the young people feel concerned about, so that they can try and alleviate their fears. The Adult Learning Department, that's the department that I'm in, we put out a survey throughout Renfrewshire. It was advertised on the Renfrewshire website, the Facebook page, and so on. So we were trying to get as many people as possible. We had 158 responses, and that was really evenly spread on all the 7 partnership areas. The things they identified, we do already do: personal development, homework assistance, and driving test theory, but we're expanding those particular 3 items because that was the most interest came for those. Personal development, just to let you know, can be anything from confidence building to gardening, crafting, cooking, that sort of thing. It covers a real wide range of things. So that's a real thing that people are interested in just now. And we also got about 50 people who have never come before, and they've expressed an interest in classes. So we're following them all up. So hopefully we'll have some new people coming along. We are in the process of going to be inspected by HMI. This could be any time this school year. So we will get 4 weeks notice for this when it happens, and the visits will last 2.5 days, a Monday to a Wednesday. The HMI inspectors will be checking if the CLD department are delivering according to the plan, and they will want to talk to partners and people that we work with. So that may be some of yourselves. So what we're going to do is we're going to have some focus group meetings in the CLD and invite partners along to come along so we can explain it a bit better, what the sort of questions will be and how the sort of the format of the visit will take place. Usually they'll come out and see the groups, like people that we work with, say the adult learners or the youth clubs. They might come out and see a group in action, but they will want to speak to some of our partners as well. So that's where we would hopefully look on this group and other groups for the help to come along and speak to the inspectors about the work that we're doing. There will be a written report available on the website 6 weeks later, so it'll be in the public domain, everyone will see it. We're very pleased that one of our learners, Anne-Marie Haggerty, who goes to Southend Action Centre, she won Adult Learner of the Year award for the whole of Scotland and went to the award ceremony recently. Press releases have gone out about it. It's been all over the press and the Facebook and social media. So we're really, really proud and delighted that she won that. To let you know that the youth services team are very productive at the moment. They've been working with Renfrewshire Youth Voice. They give out awards to young people, which is to give them encouragement to get involved in the local community. So this nominations will open soon and they will go along. They're working with youth groups to promote those ideas. They're also having elections. The whole of Scotland will be having these elections for members of the Youth Parliament, Scottish Youth Parliament. The elections will take place in November. So what's happening is that the Youth Services Department are supporting young people to come up with manifesto type things, I suppose, to say what they can do, what they can bring to the role, and they're going to encourage, they're going around all the schools encouraging young people to vote, similar to the Celebrating Renfrewshire type thing. To encourage people to go on the website and vote for somebody to represent them. And it is a great opportunity. The young people get to go to the Scottish Youth Parliament and they get to travel all over Scotland. They're also running the Young and Equally Safe projects at the moment, and that's going into schools as well and talking about violence prevention, in particular with gender-based violence. And they're also going even into primary schools to try and catch children early so that they realise the signs and what to look for and what's right and wrong about the situations. In October, they are going to do a residential for the young people to go along to be volunteers in this project, and they're working together towards the 16 Days of Action, which is a national initiative that comes out every November to December, and it's against violence against women, and it highlights that. The community capacity team, they were dealing with the Celebration Renfrewshire Fund that you saw earlier on. They've also been dealing with the Johnston Christmas lights. They've been going into Johnston Town Centre to find out what people want with the Christmas lights, and I think they're having some sort of voting system about that as well. They are Team Up to Clean Up. You probably see them all the time out picking litter up. They have got a Facebook membership now of 4,800. So that's really quite a lot of people that go along doing the litter picking. The Spotless September campaign is currently underway, and that's really just encouraging everybody to pick up litter during September. And one thing that's very prevalent at the moment is the Take the Lead campaign. It's getting people to make sure that their dogs are on the lead, to be responsible with them, to pick up the mess, obviously, that they're leaving. And they're having a big event in Renfrew Park, Robertson Park, this Saturday coming at 10 AM, where they're inviting people to bring their dogs along, and they'll be sort of encouraging responsible dog ownership. The Environmental Task Force have issued fixed penalty notices. In the first 6 months of 2023, this is 975% higher. So that's a real lot of fixed penalty notices about fly tipping and so on. So it just highlights the importance of the work that they're doing. And the Green Spaces Fund has £40,000 available, 290,000 for the villages and 28,000 for schools. So obviously get in touch with the Green Spaces Fund if people are interested. Has anyone got any questions?
I doesn't think we've got any questions, Isabel. Thanks for that. I know all the fabulous work that goes on. I know everything you just highlighted there. So thank
Okay.
you. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
that. Okay, item 11, update on local partnership review.
I'll take that, Councillor Innes. Just before I come on to that, Eddie Roscoe had asked me to mention a tourism survey that's out just now, and encouraging people to fill that in. If you haven't seen that, I'll make sure that gets sent round to you early next week once we're back from September weekend, so you can fill that in. So the local partnership review is just I mentioned that there was a paper went to Renfrewshire Council's leadership board in June, just before the summer recess. Local partnerships, as you know, have been going for a number of years now and are sort of due, probably a little bit overdue, for a look at how they operate and how they develop. So this is just a trailer almost to say that you will be being contacted very shortly, within the next little while, just for your views on how the local partnership's been running and your own personal experience at the moment, and any ideas you've got for development of that. So we're looking to develop a short survey for you to give your views, and also some opportunities for maybe some Teams meetings like this to provide your own kind of views, your own ideas on how we can make the partnership work better and take it forward into the next steps. So it's just really for you to note that will be happening just in the next few weeks or month or so. So just to alert you to the fact that's coming out. Okay, thank you.
Thanks for that update. Okay, so I'll move on then. Okay, item 12. Oh, it's the end. Date of next meeting. So it'll be held on the 14th of December. It'll be very Christmassy at 6 o'clock. We're all good with that. And that's us, I think, for the evening, folks. Right, take care. Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thanks a lot.
Thank
you.
Well done.
Thanks everyone.
Thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.